Oh man, do I love food. The LA Times even took notice after I ate at Hugo's nearly every day for 32 years. It was just blocks from my home in West Hollywood. And now I've moved to the Motion Picture and Television Fund here in Woodland Hills, and my obsession for good meals continue to simmer. Join me as I explore our food options here on the Wasserman campus. It's very nice of you to take the time and join us today. I'm sure the residents here are really going to appreciate our little get-together here.
Well, I hope so. I appreciate them.
You know, I'm a bit of a foodie, Pat, and I love to eat. I have to watch what I eat because you can get in a lot of trouble. So I'm always interested in folks about what they like to eat, where they like to eat. And those are the kind of things that we talk about. And I was just wondering because, God bless, between you and I, we've been here a while, we've been doing a lot of eating, and there must be some special secrets that you have found over the years.
Well, I generally eat a lot of most everything. I say a lot. No, I'm eating a lot less now. For instance, I do eat some meat, but I eat less of it. And in fact, I find I want less of it, which is good. I eat fish and fowl and a lot of vegetables, always have leafy green vegetables.
Right?
And I've begun now for a couple of months now, this the vegetable and fruit nature balance, I think it's called a balance of nature. Those capsules, because as they show you, they take real fresh vegetables and fruits. We don't eat enough of those usually, and we can't eat as much as our body would like because you know that it's heavy fiber, it's heavy bulk. Your body can't eat all that. But if you take these, and this is not a commercial, I don't mean it to be, but if you take this Nature's Balance stuff, they have distilled all of the nutrients from like a wheelbarrow full of fruit and vegetables that you could never eat all of in their natural form, but they distill all the ingredients, the nutrients, into these 6 capsules, which I now take every morning. Before I eat anything else, I take that. And again, this is not a commercial, they're not paying me.
Right.
But you asked, and so I want to know that I'm getting the benefits of more fruits and vegetables than most of us normally eat. And I've been doing that. But before that, I was consciously eating fruits and vegetables, plenty of raw greens, and then less and less meat because it's just harder for your body to digest. And if you can get your protein other ways, I do. And so, like last night, my housekeeper cook. I'm alone. I live just me and my dog Shadow. Me and my shadow is a real a truism for me. But she fixed me what we call spare ribs. It's just a chunk of meat on the bone with a nice sauce. And normally in the past, she would have fixed and I would have eaten 2 of those, and I'd have been miserable afterwards. It took
Yeah.
it took me a couple of years to realize I didn't have to be miserable after dinner from eating too much. If I would just eat, and when I felt like I was full, stop, even if it leaves good food on the plate. And I did last night. I even sneaked a few bites to Shadow because I had all the meat that I wanted, all that I could be comfortable eating. But I was also having a big raw green salad along with it and a couple of cooked vegetables. So, I mean, I eat a lot. Um, I eat, I should say, a variety of things, but I'm eating less and less of it and doing just great. I'm playing tennis on Saturdays, singles tennis. I'm working out in the gym again now that the club has opened up and I can go in and start doing weights. I ride my bike and I play tennis, as I say, and swim. My pool is heated. So here I am at 86. I'll be 87 in June, which is not far from now. I've almost finished living my 87th year, and I'm still playing singles tennis.
That is a big game, and singles tennis is. I take my hat off to you, Pat, because singles is truly a game. And,
well, it truly is. And the guy that I'd been playing with, who's just a kid of 82, he moved to Florida recently. So now I'm going out on Saturdays instead of actually playing 2 sets of singles. I will work out about 45 minutes with the pro who does nothing but bang shots at me from every angle. And all I do is like a batting cage where you're hitting the ball thrown at you, whether you're ready or not. And so for 45 minutes, I'm banging the balls back at him if I can get to them. And he runs me around the court. Most of them are hit to me, my backhand, forehand, but I'm hitting. And you know what, Phil, my balance is there. I never am afraid I'm going to fall. I may not get to the shot, but I'm not going to fall trying. and if I get there, I'll generally hit it back.
Well, I've never played tennis. I have watched tennis, and I see how it can be very exhausting, especially singles. And yeah. And I, like yourself, I'm into fruits, vegetables, fish, and chicken. I don't eat much meat, if any meat. I try not to at all because I find that it becomes very heavy. But you have been so active and you've continued this activity. So it is obviously working for you.
Yeah, that's the main thing about my life is that I've always been athletic, always pursued various types of athletic endeavor, golf, tennis, swimming, and I've never got into hockey or soccer, but I just love activity. I love competition.
Right.
And so that's the great thing about even basketball. I played in the senior games for 6 years. 6 years. I played when I was and it was 3-on-3 basketball it's in the senior games, which attracts some 30,000 seniors, 55 and up to any age to 100 to a city every 2 years. So I played 3-on-3 basketball, half court, 20-minute halves with a team out of Virginia called the Virginia Creepers. But we were not creepers. And I played in the 70 to 75 bracket in Cleveland, then the 75 to 80 bracket in Louisville, and then in the 80 to 85 bracket a couple of years ago in Albuquerque. So 3-on-3 basketball, and you'd be amazed at how many guys in our age bracket have still maintained their physical abilities and can get out on a basketball court and all these other athletics. There was a 100-year-old guy who took a gold medal in shot put. Shot put, 100 years old. Well, of course, there were no other contestants, and he threw the shot about 30 feet. But he's 100 years old, man, and he took home another of many gold medals. So I'm not going to play 3-on-3 basketball anymore. I'm not going to be in the 85 to 90 bracket. I'll leave that to the others, because the interesting thing is the teams that always win in competition, and I've been on the winning team several times, not all the way, not to the championship. The championship is always won by a team with at least 2 age eligible black guys who are like 6'7", 6'8", and they can dunk the ball just by reaching up and dropping the ball. And I have to defend against a 6'8" black guy. And of course they win everything, but they've maintained their athletic ability even into their advanced ages too.
Well, how have you found when you're like you've been on the road an awful lot, and when you were on the road, how did you find your eating?
You know what, for me, I get along fine on hospital food and restaurant food, But quite often on the road, first of all, I always eat fruit and cereal for breakfast. If not, what I've had this morning is quinoa. It's just a cereal, a cooked cereal, and I've had that. But then the other mornings I have fresh chopped fruit and a heavy grain cereal for breakfast. So I can do that on the road. And then for lunch or dinner, quite often I'll order, even if they don't have it on the menu, I'll ask for every cooked vegetable they have, as well as a salad, every cooked vegetable with some cheese. Put some melted cheese over all those vegetables. And that's, for me, a very satisfying dinner anywhere, anytime.
Mhm. Where have you enjoyed yourself with all of the traveling that you've done? You must have hit some very interesting restaurants. Have you found any favorites over the years?
Well, yes. I mean, there are too many for me to actually single out any one restaurant. I'm thinking one, though, of in Alberta, Canada. But when you bring it up, there was they had steaks. They advertised all their steaks because that's steak country up there in Canada.
Mhm.
And on their menu, they advertised like a 20-ounce steak. And if you could eat it all, you got it free. Well, I didn't try it, but they said only one person who had ever come through had ever eaten that whole steak and got it free, and it was the son of Tom Jones, the singer. and and he was Tom Jones always kept himself in great shape, still does. Now these insane people who enter these hot dog eating contests, I think, are out of their minds. I don't know what they act like it's a sporting event. No, it's a life. It's like Evel Knievel trying to jump the Grand Canyon. Why would you try to eat 30 or 40 hot dogs, choke them down in 3 minutes or whatever it is, with your face bulging, your stomach in pain,
Right.
and say, I'm a champion? No, you're an idiot.
Yeah. No, I buy that. I can appreciate that, but I could never, as much as I enjoy the event of eating, no, I couldn't do that. It wouldn't sit with me
Well,
at
you'll
all.
eat a lot longer. I always take as an example the what they call the three Hebrew children, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel. And the Daniel's fast, when they were taken captive from the destroyed Jerusalem into Babylon, they were handsome, athletic young men, and the king wanted them for his servants, but they had to go through a regimen to make sure they were fit and ready. And they were feeding them all the king's own fattening food. And Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, no, we don't want to eat that. Let us just eat vegetables and grains and see if not in about a month, if 3 weeks, whatever, if we're not in better shape than the others. And they were, and they did. And so they became the favored servants of their captor, the Babylonian king, because they were in better health than any of the others. And Daniel's fast is really vegetables and grains. That's all it is.
Mhm. Mhm. When you were on the road and you were doing your basketball, and you played with the
Mhm.
seniors, you played with the group in Hollywood, and did you?
Yeah.
You had, now there was you got to help me here, a Kogamoka. I want to be able to pronounce it.
Yeah, that's Kugamuga.
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 Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was an expression of a black DJ in New York. And I listened to his program on I usually WINS, or I forget the name of the call letters of the station, but very popular. And he was playing what was called race music then, rhythm and blues. And of course, I was recording a lot of that. And I listened to his show, and his name was Jocko. He called himself Jocko Henderson. And he called his radio show the Rocket Ship, and he loved to roll his R's. And he would say, it's welcome to the rocket ship. And they would have the sound of a rocket taking off. And then he said he'd do a commercial about something. Is it great? Great. Kugamuga. Yes, it's great. Well, that phrase of his Kugamuga was such a funny thing to me. that when I had to come up with a name for my TV production company for the Pat Boone Chevy show, and I was the youngest guy ever at 22 to ever have his own network television music show, and all the major stars would come on and sing with me. My production company had to have a name, and I insisted over the objections of my managers to call my production company Kugamuga Productions.
Oh, okay.
Later, I found when I was with Jocko, I went with Sammy Davis up to a show after one of my shows when he was on with me to the Apollo Theater. And I met Jocko Henderson there. And I said, I named my production company after you. He said, you did? What is it? I said, Kugamuga. He said, it's not Kugamuga, man. It's Gugamuga. So I didn't have to pay him any royalty because his name was Gugamuga. Mine was Kugamuga. We eventually had a film production company called Kugamuga Films. And I got to see when Journey to the Center of the Earth movie was co-produced by Kugamuga Films, my company. And there in CinemaScope and color, it said, 20th Century Fox. And in the same kind of gold letters, Kugamuga Productions present Journey to the Center of the Earth. And I got such a huge laugh out of that, of people having to take that stupid name seriously. But because I played on the basketball team I sponsored earlier called the Kugamuga All-Star.
Kugamuga. No, that was.
Yeah.
Now
great
also.
Kugamuga.
Great Kugamuga. Now also, when you did you were in leather, you did some metal music.
Oh yeah. Did an album of heavy metal classics.
Right.
And we did them big band jazz style, because my own musicians who were loving playing my own hit records, which are R&B, rock and roll, and movie themes and country and everything else. They said, why don't we go in the studio and make a new album? I said, what can I do? I haven't done 10 times already. Because I have, Phil, you may not know, hardly anybody knows, I have recorded more songs than any artist in history. 2,300 songs, and I'm still at it. Wow. Frank Sinatra did 1,500 songs, Bing Crosby 2,000, and I have recorded some 2,300, and I'm still doing it. So I recorded all of those songs, and I was going to make a point about that, but I'm letting people know, by the way, that all of that music, Spotify, which is where you can go to hear all kinds of music, they are entranced with the idea of archiving all 2,300 of my songs. Wow. And I will, people will be able to hear all my music as this thing gets completed. We're calling my part of Spotify Kaleidoscope, because you can hear, you never know what's coming next. You may hear a rock and roll song, a country song, a gospel song, even a cappella. I did 2 albums of singing a cappella that is with no music at all, just voices. And if you don't sing well when you're singing with no music and with trained other singers just vocally, if you don't sing well, you better not do it. So I've done 2 albums of all of that. And I was about to make a point about that, all the music that I have recorded, but
we were talking about the heavy metal.
Oh, the heavy metal album. Yes. That was one of the albums, because I told my musicians, look, I've recorded so many things. What can I do I haven't done? And they said, well, we never did any heavy metal. And then they told me, we joked about it, but then they said, there's some really good songs underneath all that noise, that cacophony, that shouting. And I didn't even know what those songs were, but they played me songs that I could tell were good songs musically, and had already been big hits to the metalheads, those who loved heavy metal music. But most of the music public knew nothing about them. So I did record 13 of those heavy metal classics with big band jazz arrangements. And that album went halfway up the Billboard chart the first week, because there was, I went on the American Music Awards, and I was wearing leather and tattoos and and a choker, and and people thought Christian television took me off the air immediately, because they thought I had gone off to the dark side and sold out and now was becoming demoniac or something. But no, I let them know this is all good music, good songs, big band jazz, heavy metal of saxophones, trombones, trumpets. And the album was a huge success. So I'm very proud of it. Even though, and I got reinstated on my weekly program on Christian television, which was called Gospel America, all kinds of gospel music, incorporating all kinds of instrumentation. Listen, are we going to talk about the home where the
Sure.
movie?
The motion picture home?
Yeah, before we run out of time, I just
Absolutely.
wanted to talk about that.
Please, please, we can. I'm here. I've been here 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm very appreciative. There's no place like this anywhere in the country, and it may very well be, anywhere in the world.
Well,
So,
you know how supportive I've been of it, and
yes.
I don't know if you knew that many years ago, Gregory Peck, who was a big supporter of the home,
Right.
contacted me and said, we'd like to do a big fundraiser, and you have a big yard there in Beverly Hills and no tennis courts, because I wanted lawn. It's 1.2 acres of flat land, one of the biggest lots in Beverly Hills. I've been living here 66 years now. Can we set up a tent and invite all the movie people and supporters and come have a fundraiser in your side yard? And I said, of course.
Oh, wow.
And so we had a wonderful evening. We raised a lot of money in that event. And of course, during that time, I made my own visits to the home, and I was so impressed with it. And a son-in-law of mine, I don't know if he's still associated, but was one of the major fundraisers for his name, Doug Corbin, and married to my second daughter, Lindy, at that time. And he became one of the fundraisers for the motion picture home. I went out, and I'll never forget some of the famous people, actors, actresses that I greatly admired, who, thank God, had places to stay and be looked after and taken care of, when maybe some of them were out of fashion now. And even though they'd done great things in the movies, they were no longer in demand. And so, they needed help.
Right.
And that's what the home is for. It's the honor, pay tribute to these wonderful people who've entertained us over so many years and have given a lot of their lives to that occupation, which we have been blessed by. And now they deserve to get some blessing back from us.
And no, you've been instrumental. And, people here who I talk to who live here now, they just can't say enough about the support. It's really been something, and it's been ongoing, and it is so appreciative. I myself, I have no idea in the world where I would be if this opportunity wasn't available for me.
Yeah.
And I come from the representation arena. I was an agent initially and then became a personal manager.
Yeah.
And
and none of us could have functioned without what you do, what you did.
There's yes, and so many of the folks here, started are a foundation for what people started to do.
Yes.
But no, there's no business like show business, and it's incredible. And
we try to take care of our own. We really do.
Yes.
And not only of our own, but I don't think entertainers, often they may do things that the general public looks askance at, because they're human beings and they have failings and foibles like we all do. But one thing about most entertainers is, when there is a good cause where people need help, we rally to it. You can always count on the entertainment industry right now, and whatever your favorite charity is, particularly through COVID, entertainers are there to help, give, perform, raise money, and that's what entertainers do. So it's only right that when they need a little help, toward the end of their lives, that we step up and help them.
Well, it's very nice, and I don't have words to be able to find the words to say to you, thank you, to thank the staff here, which is an incredible makeup of people unto themselves. And
Yeah.
it really has been something. And I just don't have the words, but I thank you.
Pretty good words. Thank you.
But
You're a good representative still.
yes, but I do want to say, I want to thank you not only for all your support, but I want to thank you so very much, and thank Robin for us, for helping us put this together.
Yep.
And if I may.
Amy too. Thank Amy.
Thank Amy. Thank Jennifer. Oh, yes, there's a lot of folks there.
I have a question, Pat. You said tattoos.
Yeah.
Fake or real?
I still have those tattoos, all of them, in a drawer upstairs.
Okay.
They're decals,
Very.
and I had more than I needed. You know, the funny part about that is that whole idea of me and Alice Cooper presenting the award for hard rock heavy metal was because he had heard my album, which was coming out the next day, of heavy metal classics. So he thought it would be fun and good promotion for my album, which it certainly was, to have him and me swap images when we presented the award for hard rock heavy metal.
Oh.
Now, Cooper, of course, normally had long hair, black hair, and he painted these black tears coming down from his eyes and his face, and, you know, looked like a wraith of some sort, you know, from the pit of hell or something. That's what he tried to look like. Well, he was a golfer. He'd become a strong Christian, but he still had that image. So he was going to come out, according to Dick Clark, is what he asked us to do, and we agreed, in a V-neck sweater, looking like me, V-neck sweater, white buck shoes, his long hair pulled back under a golf cap, carrying a glass of milk. And then I came out, and he had the costume created for me by Bill Ballou, who made the costumes for Elvis, right up to Elvis's last performances. And he made me this leather vest, which was just open the chest all the way down to the navel, no sleeves, biceps bulging, all this stuff, and then tattoos and choker and shades and boots, leather pants, earrings. And I would come out, Cooper, looking like me with milk and white bucks, would introduce the future of heavy metal, Pat Boone, and then I would come stalking out looking like this heavy metal apparition. Well, at the last minute, 30 minutes before, the show was already on, the awards were going, the American Music Awards were in progress. We were at the Shrine Auditorium, and I was in a tux. I was going to get out of my tux that I'd worn when I arrived. Now I was going to put on this leather outfit. I already had the tattoos tattooed on, decaled on my arms and pecs. And so he, Cooper, in his dressing room said, "I'm not going to do it. I just can't go out there in white bucks and carrying a glass of milk. I'm sorry. I'm just going to go out like you usually do." So he assumed I'm in a tux. That means we're not going to do, we are not, but Dick Clark, he'd made all the arrangements and I had made all my arrangements. So I said, I'm going to do what he asked me to do. So we parted company. I went down to the dressing room. I got in all that regalia, which Cooper had not seen. Now he goes out when he's introduced, and he's going to introduce me as the future of heavy metal. And he reads the teleprompter. He says, I've been involved in hard rock, heavy metal music for years now, and I know the history of heavy metal. Now I want to introduce you to the future of heavy metal, Pat Boone. Now, if I walked out in a tuxedo, that was going to mean nothing. Nobody would know what in the world he's talking about. Instead, when he introduced me as the future of heavy metal, and Dick Clark had the stage filled up with smoke, and I emerged through the smoke with ominous music playing in this outfit, and I walked up to Cooper, and his jaw was hanging open. He didn't know what to say. He didn't say anything. And I said, "Coop, you know that my album of heavy metal music is coming out tomorrow, and the subtitle is No More Mr. Nice Guy, your song." And again, he didn't know what to say, and the crowd was going crazy. They were making so much noise, we couldn't be heard. And so I walked out to the edge of the stage and stood there like Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, just glaring at the audience with the tattoos and the glasses and tattoo on my chest and all. And I couldn't say anything. I didn't have a mic. So my attitude was, hey, you got a problem with me? You want a piece of me? And I flexed my pecs and made those two little tattoos dance. And the crowd went nuts again. And I walked back to Cooper, whose mouth was still hanging open. And he went to the teleprompter and he said, does this mean I have to sing Love Letters in the Sand? My big hit song. And I'd already cued the sound man. When he asked me that, I'm going to lean into the mic, turn up any effects you have, echo or sound, whatever it can be. When he said, do I have to sing Love Letters in the Sand? I said, that would be nice. Blah, 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 blah. It echoed throughout the Shrine Auditorium. And so the crowd went nuts again. Well, Dick Clark said later that of all the moments in the American Music Award history, even when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk, when Eminem came on and sang with Elton John, when Marilyn Manson, when all of his craziness was on, nothing ever got more front page instant news, lead item on the news television than that, my appearance in the heavy metal garb with Alice Cooper. And then we presented the award for hard rock heavy metal to Metallica. They came on stage bowing and saying I was their new lead singer. It was a great adventure.
That's amazing, Pat. I love that story.
It's a beautiful story. I want to thank you once again for not only all that you have done, but all that you continue to do. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. And if I may, in my usual sign off, till we eat again.
Till we eat again.